Quick Crypto, bringing you quick Kaspa news. We have some significant developments on the horizon with Kaspa. Developments that could be categorized as event catalysts that would resuscitate Kaspa's price and send it into a volatile frenzy. But these developments aren't the only reason why I believe that this may be your last chance to buy cheap Kaspa, or one of your last chances at least. In today's video, we won't be covering just the recent major updates and incoming Kaspa catalyst, if you will. We will also be covering a potential market outlook, what the crypto market could look like 1 year from now and beyond, that this cycle could be the last bull cycle. We actually have further proof of this statement from institutional research documents and much more, which confirm similar events, to which, of course, if you are interested in learning a lot more, staying ahead of the game with crypto and Kaspa through exclusive content such as trades, institutional research documents, and much more for a free 7-day free trial period, look at the link down below to the Coin Factory, the CF executives. Now, when it comes to the recent Kaspa news and developments, well, there are many incoming event catalysts that make me personally believe this may be one of your last chances to buy cheap Kaspa. The first and arguably the most obvious to me, that personally I feel like many are oblivious to now, is the institutional adoption element. And let me explain what I mean by that. It's actually explained a little bit here in this interview from Johnny, the Executive Vice President of the KEF. Take a very close listen.
That Vitalik, of course from Ethereum, spoke in multiple occasions about the Ghost protocol. That is a protocol that Vitalik thought of using to design the new smart contract system on Ethereum before they decided to turn to POS, proof of stake system. So you can actually search for Vitalik and Ghost, and you will see Vitalik quoting these results from Dr. Samlinsky and their teams. So the major point here is that maybe different from many's knowledge, but Kaspa has actually always been the academic basis and cornerstones of many popular chains technology people are using on a daily basis of today.
What you have to understand is we have institutional adoption entering these spaces, finally seeking out right now the older and bigger chains that have the early adoption and the tech currently ongoing. But the truth of the matter is the majority of these large cap tokens in this space, from Ethereum to Solana, even XRP, and many more, their protocols are a derivative of the Ghost DAG protocol, the very one Kaspa's founder Jonathan Stablecoin created himself. So not just most of these projects already in this space have acknowledged and based their project off Stablecoin's work, Kaspa is now born, and since has continued to upgrade and innovate beyond what these other projects built and are currently running off, and sacrifice what they did for better scalability. Kaspa stayed true to its narrative. Once Kaspa gets the adoption, which will come through soon following their other very bullish developments, institutions may very well migrate to Kaspa instead, as Kaspa will soon be faster than the existing protocols. Which brings me on to the second and most imminent catalyst, which is the 10 BPS block per second hard fork migration. As of yesterday night, Crescendo was released on testnet 10, with the activation set to go live at approximately 6:30 PM UTC tomorrow, according to Michael Sutton right here. Crescendo is one of the most significant milestones, not just for Kaspa, but for the entire crypto industry. It is history in the making, proving to everybody that proof of work can scale. It can remain scalable without the sacrificing of decentralization and security like many others, like even Ethereum did. So many more than that before in the past as well. Kaspa is going to prove that it is possible. Should this all go smoothly, we will have confirmation that the 10 BPS, the 1 to 10 BPS hard fork on the mainnet, will be the next and final step, which is currently scheduled to take place and conclude at the end of April, I believe. Crescendo is huge, of course. It gives Kaspa faster transactions with shorter confirmation times, higher scalability to support the growing network usage, which will come through with more adoption, and also stronger performance that prepares Kaspa for more adoption and use cases that will come through with the likes of smart contracts, which is another major catalyst for Kaspa. But before I get into this incoming major event catalyst development here, as I'm recording this video, I have just seen bombshell confirmation here. The other major event catalyst that is coming to Kaspa is very close now, which is stablecoins. As we can see in this thread here, started off from Nick, 6M Nick here, he states that the Caspians community, Caspians, should contact USDT Tether to inquire about integration on Kaspa, to which there's been some response here, and they even got a response back from Tether USDT saying that they are waiting to be contacted by the official Kaspa team. Long story short though, Johnny here, the executive vice president of the KEF, just confirms here that they just had a meeting with Tether roughly 26 hours before Nick asked. And Wolfie was also in attendance at this meeting. This is massive confirmation, bombshell news, completely flown under the radar. The question now, as we can see from Johnny, is if it is Bridge USDT on Kaspa or USDT native to Kaspa. So it sounds like the negotiations are more or less complete. It's not a question of if, just how, and I guess seemingly when, which considering we just got this major confirmation of Tether stablecoins coming to Kaspa, as Johnny just mentioned, and it's all in the works right now, and 10 BPS is launching on the testnet in the same week, potentially the launch date of both will sync up nicely with the official Crescendo hard fork, and we'll see the release of both at the same time. This is massive though, huge new stablecoins. They are literally the best way to get adoption on chain, or block DAG in this case. They have the biggest use case in this space for transactions. As we can see here, stablecoins surpassed the volume that of Visa and MasterCard combined in 2024 last year. That is insane news. There's literally, this is the reason institutions are literally wetting themselves and wanting to develop their own stablecoins and tap into this market. There's so much money they can make with stablecoins, or so much time they can save with stablecoins. It's beneficial for them. This is how Kaspa starts to steal liquidity from every other chain in this space, especially once Kaspa develop and deploy smart contracts. The penultimate major event catalyst coming to Kaspa. Right now, smart contracts are supposedly going to be going live around summertime this year, 2025. And we currently have 4 initiatives aiming to bring smart contracts to Kaspa. You've got Kas EVM, you also got Project Sparkle, you've got Kasplex, and equally you also got incurred Labs. Now, so far, most of the developers that I have seen have been from incurred Labs, and they have doxed their team as well. You can see their team members. We can see here, some of their members originally worked for DAG Labs. Right here and right here. Mike, Zach, and Dennis here. Both work for DAG Labs. And in case you didn't know, this is the initiative, the industry, the company, whatever you want to call it. This is the people that Son Polinsky and other developers were a part of when they founded Kaspa in the first place. So these two were part of the initial team creating Kaspa. And they're one of the 4 initiatives aiming to bring smart contracts onto Kaspa. This is huge, coming around full circle. Now, there's not much more I can currently cover regarding smart contracts right now, as the main focus is around 10 BPS for the developer team, and obviously stablecoins now apparently. But they will increase Kaspa's use case and result in much more adoption, and therefore much more demand for Kaspa once smart contracts come out. And incurred Labs, actually, they'll be taking part in a Twitter space on Thursday, 8 PM BST, so about, I imagine, 20 hours before the stream goes out, give or take. So I'm sure there'll be some smart contract updates here as well, which I'm looking forward to listening to. All these event catalysts, though, they are coming out this year, which is the reason why patience is a virtue. Don't be emotional, be logical, know what you're holding. The reason why I'm still bullish on Kaspa is you've got all of these major developments. You still have tier 1 listings as well. You even have DAG Night that apparently may be released later this year, Q3, Q4 time maybe, which would be truly mind-blowing and the official endgame for Kaspa. This may be your last chance to buy cheap Kaspa, or at least one of your last chances, truth be told, because if I'm perfectly honest, with the current market conditions, with tariffs and whatnot, uncertainty, I do see potential for more downside in the immediate short term. But with what is to come with Kaspa and crypto as a whole, I do believe that this may be one of your last chances to get cheap Kaspa, that this may be Kaspa's first, but also its last bull run. Now, what I mean by that, well, it has all to do with institutional adoption and Trump and his pro-crypto administration, how they are transforming this space to bring trillions of dollars of liquidity on chain. And once more, we plan to make the most of this opportunity. Again, if you're interested through exclusive content such as the 7-day free trial, come check it out. Link down below. Check out the Coin Factory to see F executives. So, as we can see, this just in, Trump to reveal Bitcoin reserve strategy at the White House Crypto Summit in 1 or 2 days time this Friday to take the Commerce Secretary. The fact that Trump has announced his plans to create not just a Bitcoin reserve but a US crypto strategic reserve is bullish. and further justifies my theory and seemingly the belief and theories of institutional sentiments as well that I've again highlighted to my executive community, that this may be our last bull run, at least in the typical sense. In fact, in this regard, a couple of days ago we witnessed this exclusive interview on Fox Business with ex-RP advocate and lawyer of the people John Dieter. Now, he says a lot about XRP here, but that's not relevant. Well, it is relevant, but that's not what's important here. What's important is the last 30 seconds of this interview where he is jokingly conversing with the news anchors. That's what's really important. Listen very, very closely.
People have talked about it as sort of a hedge against who knows what, but it doesn't behave as some people believe it will.
No, a lot of people try to call it a risk-off asset, but let's be honest, it's a risk-on asset.
It's the
right
most
now.
risky asset. What was it down? It was up the other day. How much?
94,000 after this.
And then it came down. Didn't it go down as much as it went up?
Yes, Bitcoin has a history of going down 40%, 50%, 60%, even in these cycles.
In these cycles?
Yes.
And
so
we're going to put that in a reserve.
Well, XRP's up.
Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency and equally the least volatile cryptocurrency, can still experience 40%, 50%, even 60% pullbacks, and that is during the bull run period. Take 2021 cycle for example. The cycle last year we saw a 56% correction from its first top in a bull run. That is insane. We have also seen a lot of volatility of Bitcoin recently in the past few days when we saw Bitcoin shoot up from $86,000 to $94,000 and then straight back down again, back to back in the span of 2 days, which is also insane. Not to mention that when we go from bull market to bear market, we have seen Bitcoin correct as much as 70 to 80% in value. Yet, Trump wants to create a strategic reserve the same way you would keep gold in a reserve, which isn't volatile and keeps appreciating year on year. He wants to keep crypto assets like Bitcoin and many other even more volatile assets in a reserve, which is ridiculous. The point is here, this sort of volatility in a reserve could be dangerous and disastrous. Therefore, there is an increased chance that we won't be seeing Bitcoin and crypto correct the typical 10% after the cycle period ends. Then there's the fact to consider, which is Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the $11.5 trillion asset under management, the biggest financial institution in the world. BlackRock, who never loses. Larry Fink here confirmed at Davos to mainstream media that in this interview he confirms that he wants to tokenize everything. Stocks and bonds, even real estate, he wants to tokenize everything. Everything will jump onto blockchain. Listen closely.
I want the SEC to rapidly approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks. That will simplify things, make things easier.
Now, as Jack Mallers highlights in his, I would say, well-constructed rant about how adding centralized assets to a reserve is stupid and should only be fair launch zero pre-mined assets like gold, corn, Bitcoin, and in that regard you also include Kaspa because there is also fair launch proof of work, no zero pre-mines. But Jack Mallers here also highlights that there's over $900 trillion worth of stuff in the world. Not money per se, but stuff. So from fiat currency money to stocks to real estate to much more, the stuff that human beings own, there's over $900 trillion worth. And if BlackRock wants to tokenize everything from stocks to bonds to real estate and everything else, then in theory, there's over $900 trillion worth of assets worth of stuff that could be on chain in the future. Not overnight, of course. Let's be realistic here. Let's not be emotional, be logical. And also likely is not all of that capital will come on chain. But we're seeing increased bit of adoption right now, and we're also seeing, therefore, in theory, the size of money that could jump into this space. This further makes me believe that should we see a correction after the cycle period, which is still very possible, it won't be nearly as aggressive because blockchain adoption for institutions is still quite early and development integration will only expand further from here, and adoption as well. And then there's also speculation that crypto will become like the stock market, which I would argue it will be much more than that, considering again BlackRock wants to tokenize everything, including stocks, which will therefore be on a blockchain. So, but for argument's sake, let's just say sure, crypto becomes a stock market. This market, as we can see here from this post from Hartford Funds, states that stocks typically correct only 35% from, bull to bear market, which is significantly less than crypto's typical 70 to 80% correction. We even do 30% corrections in a bull cycle. I mean, look recently, from $108,000, $109, we saw almost a 30% correction in value already. I could go on. The point is, those are just 3 of seemingly many examples and reasons that can be found, and I have seen, and even more I've heard from the institutional research element here, that supports the belief and possibility that this crypto bull cycle could potentially be the last cycle, and it will only go up from here, therefore making it potentially your last chance to buy cheap Casper, that you may not have a chance to wait until the next cycle. Not financial advice, of course, do your own research. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Bullish or bearish on Casper? Is it possible? As always, do your own research, come chill, chat and learn more. See our community here, link down below. And remember, don't be emotional, be logical, and I'll see you in the next one.